Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my August TBR, so please stay tuned.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make.
And we are back. So today I'm sharing with you my August TBR. I do not have all the books in front of me that I'm going to be reading in July, but there's are a few. I'm trying to at least read at least 3 or 4 books this month, but they're in August. I feel like there's so many books coming out, like Ray Bearer, which I had pre-ordered, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, which I pre-ordered, and that comes out August the 4th, I believe. So yeah, so I feel like my TBR was going to be like going up and down, and I'm gonna be changing things, but for now these are the books that I have so far that I'm going to be reading. And then also there's another book that I pre-ordered. This is My America, which I also am going to try to fit in my TBR in August as well. But for now, I just have 3 books that for sure I know I'm going to try to read, or at least two out of this 3 I'll be reading for sure. But first one, I'm going to be reading A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I am buddy reading this with India, Life is a Page Turner, and there's a few other booktubers that we are pretty much buddy reading with on Discord. So yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward. I've already started reading it a little bit, and I'm loving it. Like, I'm already like not liking Nesta and Farrah's family. They're like dogging her, which is just crazy. But from what I'm reading, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. This is my first time reading any book by Sarah J. Maas, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading more of this book and getting deeper and deeper into this world alone. And so I wanted to read this book and start reading the series because I know the newest book for this series comes out next year. So I was like, what the heck, I might as well catch up and read this, right? So yeah, so for this, like, look, I love the cover. Pretty much it's just black. It's black with silver foiling, so nothing too special. And then there's red in pages. But for this book, it says, she stole a life, now she must pay with her heart. When 19-year-old Huntress Farrah kills a wolf in the woods, a beast-like creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Farrah discovers that her captor is not an animal but Tamlin, one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled their world. As Farrah dwells on his estate, her feelings for Tamlin transforms from icy hostility to a fiery passion that burns through every lie and warning she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But an ancient, wicked shadow over the fairy lands is growing, and Farrah must find a way to stop it, or doom Tamlin and his world forever. From the #1 New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Sarah J. Maas comes to a seductive and breathtaking new book that blends romance, adventure, and fairy lore into her most unforgettable story yet. So, I love romance. I love everything about it. So I'm definitely looking forward of continuing on reading this book. But yeah, so this sounds up my alley as far as retellings. So this is one of the books I'll be reading in August. Second book is another one that I'm going to try to get try to read. This is another book that I'm trying to buddy read with, but I haven't started reading it yet. And this is definitely a romance. It's very erotic too. It's a retelling as well. Like, yeah, and it's from the Wicked Villains series by Katie Robert, and that is Desperate Measures. So this is also another buddy read that I'm participating with India, Life is a Page Turner. And I definitely heard about this book from Princess, the Castle Library, and India from Life is a Page Turner, and also from Steph, who is the romance guru. And so, like, I'm excited to read this. Like I said, it is a retelling, and I will pretty much share with you how it is a retelling. So it says, one savior, my savior or my ruin. One night, and my entire life went up in flames, all because of him, Jafar. As my world burned down around me, he offered me a choice: walk away with nothing but my freedom, or rise to his challenge and win my fortune back. I bargained. I lost. Now Jafar owns me, and even as my mind rails against his rules, my body loves the punishments he deals out when I break them. But a gilded cage is still a prison. I'll do anything to obtain my freedom, even betray the man I'm falling for. So as you can see, it says Jafar. So this is a retelling, Aladdin retelling, but this is pretty much based off of Jafar and Princess Jasmine. So yeah, so of course it's a little saucy. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading this this month in August. It's not very long of a book. I believe it's only about, it's only 213 pages. So yeah, it's not really long. So I plan on reading this for sure in August. And yeah, so I'm all for it. This is my first time reading anything erotic like this, and a Disney retelling. I'm like, ooh. So yeah, so this is the next book that I'll be reading. Third book, I had this is an arc. This book comes out in August, and this one is pretty much an historical fiction book, which I'm looking forward to reading it. And this is Traitor by Amanda McCrenna. And I wanted to read this. I love historical fiction, and I wanted to give this a try. And it says, a tightly woven thriller exploring cultural conflict, deep-seated prejudice, and the terror of living in a world where deception is a means of survival. Poland, 1944. After the Soviet liberation of Lwów from Germany, the city remains a battleground between resistant fighters and insurgent armies, its loyalties torn between Poland and Ukraine. 17-year-old Tolia Korolenko is half Ukrainian, half Polish, and he joined the Soviet Red Army to keep himself alive and fed. When he not quite accidentally shoots his unit's political officer in the street, he's rescued by a squad of Ukrainian freedom fighters. They might have saved him, but Tolia doesn't trust them. He especially doesn't trust Solovy, the squad's war-scared young leader who has plenty of secrets of his own. Then a betrayal sends them both on the run, and in a city where loyalty comes second to self-preservation. A traitor can be an enemy or a survivor, or sometimes both. So yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this. It sounds really interesting. I love historical fiction. It sounds right up my alley, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading this. I'm trying to get to it as much as I can. But it even has like historical notes here. Like it says, in September 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union jointly invade and occupy Poland, dividing the country between them along the so-called Curzon Line. This invasion marks the beginning of what will become World War II. For nearly 2 years, the two rival powers maintained an uneasy truce, busy carrying their war elsewhere, to Finland, to France, to Britain. Then, in late June 1941, German forces crossed the Curzon Line, setting out to catch the Soviets unawares and crush them. The invasion is supposed to be over in 8 weeks. Instead, the Soviet Union rallies. The Great Patriotic War against Germany drags on for the next 3 years. By July 1944, Soviet forces are pouring back into the Polish territories they abandoned to the Germans 3 years earlier. One Poland city, Lwów, changes hands for the third time in 5 years, falling once more to Soviet liberators. Lwów is the historical capital and crown jewel of Galicia, a region incorporating parts of both Poland and Ukraine, and until 1918, part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The city was a battleground between Poles, Ukrainians, Germans, and Russians, even before Hitler and Stalin laid claim. Its cemeteries house the dead of the First World War, the Russo-Polish War, and the brief, bitter Polish-Ukrainian War of 1918 through 1919. The war that helped establish both the dominance of the city's Polish majority and the national consciousness of its Ukrainian minority. Both Poles and Ukrainians consider Lwów theirs by right. They've spilled blood to prove it. Invasion and occupation by two different foreign powers have only rubbed those old wounds raw. July 1944, the Great Patriotic War is all but over. The Western Allies have landed at Normandy. Hitler's Germany is on its last legs. But Lowell's war didn't start in 1939, and it doesn't end here. So yeah, that just gives you pretty much an aspect of World War II and everything in itself in the earlier stages. And then it also provides you like a map. It's a map, but it says not final. So this map might be different in the actual copy once it's published. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to reading this. It sounds very interesting. But yeah, so those are the 3 books that I have right now. Like I said, I have pre-ordered, this is My America, which I'm going to try to read. I'm definitely going to be reading Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, because that's one of my anticipated reads of this year. I also want to read Ray Bear as well. So I'm trying to see what I can do. I'm going to read what I can read this month, and if not, I will follow up with it next month. But there you have it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my little August TBR. Like I said, I don't have all the books because not all of them are out yet, because they come out August the 4th and so on. But yeah, these are the 3 books so far that I'll be reading in August. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much, you guys. See ya.